Hello, boys and girls. I'm Eric Nielsen, and welcome to the joy of podcasting. If this is your first time with us, I'd like to invite you to grab out your dusty old microphone and record along with us. We're going to run along all the names of the people we're going to be talking about today on the screen. Confucius. I don't know nothing about him. I watched one documentary, and they were like, here's how he shaped our culture. But I was like, what about his life? And they were like,
culture.
Ghost. I was like, all right. So I got no info. But he did.
His life was a lot about influencing culture, so I mean that's probably why there was not a lot of info.
Yeah.
He did a lot of just dinking around in ancient China.
Oh, not Sam. Not in ancient China.
He's likened to it was about the same time as Plato in ancient Greece. He's also likened to like Socrates, obviously, and also around the same time as the Buddha too.
Oh, what a guy! I like that guy. He's just a chubber with a good think.
Guatemala.
Chubber with a good.
Actually, think. Buddha wasn't actually a chubber. Actually. Yeah, that's a picture. Like the Buddha is it's complicated. Buddha
was he
stuff.
had like a 6-pack and like blonde hair?
He was just search up Guatemala. It's not Guatemala Buddha. Guatemala Buddha sounds great though. Guatemala Buddha. I keep forgetting that this is like an actual podcast and video podcast now too. So
that's what that is.
That's
the
really
void.
Over
I
there.
can see your bedroom.
Put some pants on. No, not my bedroom.
Put your pants. Okay.
Anyway, we may as well get started into the Confucius lifestyle.
Yes,
with this water here, this is really.
Aren't these fun little cups?
They are really nice.
I like these cups.
Make them like. Ooh.
No,
that didn't sound as good as I thought it would. It sounded like two plastic things. They're very metal. Very metal.
It sounds even more plastic.
Oh, which reminds me, this like bronze kind of steel. I had a side note in here. Apparently, Confucius claimed that people, and it wasn't just Confucius, but this was a Chinese ritual, was that in order to pass your ancestors on in the rites, every year you had to use this bronze thing. I don't know, a bronze thing, and
what?
I don't remember what it was, but it was like these bronze ritual cups, and apparently the bronze was had to be the most expensive bronze there was, which sounds like a marketing scheme to me. Yeah, like be sure to make sure you pass on your ancestors with expensive bronze, none of that cheap shit.
Most expensive.
Buy it from George down the street. He has the most expensive bronze.
I think we should get started. Fill me in.
You think so?
I know so.
You know so. Well, there's not a ton on his life.
Well,
so that's why I was just stalling.
Let's read a paragraph. We can ramble and then read a paragraph.
Spoiler for the next character. That we're just character stalling.
Fun fact: this is a play.
Yeah. No. So Confucius. Who is Confucius? Well, from what you probably gathered, he's an ancient Chinese guy.
Confucius. Who is Confucius?
Yeah.
That was a good bit. I like it.
He's an ancient Chinese guy, but he was like a philosopher. And his life was very well documented, right down to his birth. His birthing. They went into the exact specifics of his birth, which is very important considering the fact that
she laid at the 45 degree.
He was born at 551 BC.
Oh,
right?
Was that him?
That's him.
Whoa!
He's a hot Chinese dude.
He looks like Danny DeVito.
Yeah, one hunk of a
with
Chino.
Like buck teeth. I don't know why this is buck teeth, but
I mean, yeah. So a lot of his life might just be made up stuff. Because it's 551 BC.
Well-documented fakeness.
Yeah, well-documented fakeness. But, because there's some stories that just seem very interesting. When I get into it, you'll understand.
All right.
But
educate.
Basically, a lot of it is just hard to be so exact on what he was. And in the end,
there was nothing.
There was a good life story to be learned from Confucius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So his father was a soldier, but he wasn't very young. In fact, when he was born, he was old, like breaching 50.
I just imagine it's a boy. You want some peanuts? Immediately.
Yeah, he was very desperate for an heir. Because back then you needed to have your family line go on, right?
Yeah, same with the Romanov family.
Yeah. So he set about finding a woman.
I'm not on Tinder. I'm sitting about finding a woman.
I love how I wrote this. Bam! Woman was found quick. It was very quick, actually. It was like, I need a woman. And he's like, found her. And then just picked one off of the street, basically. And so she was like 18, and he was 50. And they hit it off real quick. Ancient China. And so...
You know ancient China. Wonk, wonk.
Oh, that can be taken as racist somehow. Wonk, wonk.
Why?
Say, like, I don't know.
You
Like
made it
wonk
racist.
instead of wonk, like, you know?
You made it racist.
We say find the word, like...
You made it racist.
Did I? Are you sure?
Yes. To understand Confucius, you need to understand the world he knew and lived.
This is, I mean, yeah. Thank you, Eric.
You need to.
Thank you. So, his daddy, back to his daddy, because that's where we were talking about his daddy, right? Remember? You
Cancel.
skipping about. This is a really interesting story about his daddy. Come on.
Well, tell me about it,
I'm telling you. Yeah.
God,
So,
I'm gonna kill myself. With joy. It came out good.
and so what happened was he really needed to have a boy, because if you had a girl in ancient China, it was not a good idea.
Where's the...
That was basically like, yeah, try again.
Where's
like,
the trash can?
like,
Oh, yeah.
So basically what they did is they went to this mountaintop, and they got to the mountaintop, and they sat there, and they're like, please, Sky God, give me baby boy.
Famous Chinese accent.
Please, Sky God. Yeah. So they prayed a lot, and they eventually did get a boy.
Oh.
Through the one time. Eventually. I don't know. Like, it was kind of like a press
Give me a
for
boy,
time.
thanks, bye.
Yeah, because like he was 50 and like bridging on erectile dysfunction. So I mean, like, you call me back when you're 50 and let me know how you feel.
Call me back in 40 years.
Yeah. 40. What are you, 10?
20 years. Whoops. Opa, happy Chrysler.
Oh, this is when you accidentally become 10 years old again. Oh.
Big 2 reverse.
So yeah, basically he was born, and he was a young baby with like very good
He
science.
was born a baby.
He was born a baby.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So he just had like, he was just a regular looking baby, and basically we got a segue into the chaos of China at the time, because China was like not China.
You got to understand the world you lived in.
Yeah. So
This period of China was known as the Spring-Autumn period, and then the following,
which is very misleading.
with Warning States period.
The warring state, not warning.
Warning States are coming.
Warring.
These periods were largely influenced by Confucius, and also influenced Confucius as well. So you can take that to the store. For example, I know it's to the bank. I'm a bogey.
A bogey? Bogey above
Par. According to the accounts at the time, Confucius was the one who wrote the records for the annuals, or annals.
Yeah, the
inaugurations.
Like inaugurations, yeah.
For the Zhao dynasty, or Zhao dynasty, during the end of their rule.
Yeah, so the end of the Zhao dynasty, and then, well...
Oh, it is Zhao. Good. I didn't...
Yeah. It's some other dynasties are named, like the Qing dynasty is Qing, and you pronounce it Qing.
Quahing.
Yeah, Quahing. Which, I mean, ancient China history, here we go.
Like
but
a
yeah,
cash register.
basically the Zhao dynasty was doing a thing, and all of a sudden they weren't, and so...
Cancel.
Yeah,
Can we please get a button that says cancel?
We really do need to get one.
I'll use my
Because
easy
they
button.
stopped doing a thing. It was basically there was an idea of the mandate of heaven back then, where if you were in power, then you had to withhold the mandate of heaven. You had to be like a
heaven
chosen by God, and if you didn't do good, then God obviously did not choose you. So you're out.
You're
of
on
here.
the bench, you loser.
And basically, any time that a dynasty lost the mandate of heaven, there was chaos. And so, right at the end of the Zhao dynasty, the spring and autumn period, as it was called, which is very misleading because basically every 3 seconds there was a war. There's 50 states, or like some 50 more states, that were not unified, and they all wanted to be in power.
Like Kansas.
And Arkansas. And
South Kansas.
And South Arkansas.
Oh, all of it.
Arkansas's.
Arkansas.
Yeah, that was a joke about Arkansas, which is Arkansas, actually. I think we Canadians need to get the pronunciation right of the American states. Arkansas.
Thank you.
Side quest about America.
Side quap.
Side quap.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, there were just very bad times, and the warring
Not
states
good.
that followed was even worse. Yeah.
Didn't I just read that?
Yeah. So the Zhao states were big, and like it was a big state, but like it wasn't really. It started losing its power. And like losing its land to other people.
Limited power.
Yeah, basically.
Very limited.
Yeah, and it was facing some uprisings and attacks and stuff like that. So, yeah, and then the numerous conglomerates. There was probably about 120. Sorry, I said 50 different states. 120 different states. In what is known as China.
That makes more sense geographically because it's way bigger.
Yeah, so there's like 120
If
areas
that
were just like.
Chinese war cry coming.
Yeah, and this is it didn't take up as much as the area as what modern day China does, because this is 500 BC and they still hadn't gone really that far west.
Why would you?
Yeah, so there's like Beijing, Hong Kong. Meh. Sorry, Hong Kong and Beijing. Hong Kong is above.
It's not a crossword puzzle.
Hong Kong, Beijing. Meh. Yeah, there's the Yellow River, and that was basically the extent of the territory. Was the Yellow River? Not a lot of people lived out by the Yellow River.
I'm gonna use that whenever I go to use the washroom now.
I'm
Heading down to Yellow River.
Oh yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, so there's basically 120 different conglomerates attempting to prove themselves as the next line of kings, to be like, we now own China, and so
we the China.
Yeah, so they wanted to prove each other in bloody combat. There was really no escape from any of that stuff, so the warfare was not planned or executed very well, or organized. It was just a bunch of people just like running at each other.
It's not like, all right, war meeting, quick, before we stop.
As compared to from the 1800s to like modern war, like the 1800s was just a bunch of people with like fire.
I guess they used to be like, we are declaring war soon.
Yeah,
hit me up if you want to chat.
And there was like Greece and Rome had like very organized warfare.
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
what I was like. Hit me up if you want to chat.
This was not organized. This was just people being like, "All right, we're gonna go," and then they go, "What? Go!" And then like just go, like
bop it,
war.
I want that bop it so bad. End of a dynasty. I don't know what to do.
Throw it.
Nice.
Good bit.
It's like golf. You want the lowest score possible with that game.
So basically, just imagine China at this point to be like just random Mongol hordes. Sorry, I didn't realize you wanted money.
Here comes the Mongols.
Yeah. It wasn't quite Mongol hordes, but like it wasn't as scary as just Mongols, but
I didn't realize you wanted money.
You just realized
that just sunk in. I don't pay him. I want for the pence.
I don't pay him, so I mean.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
With that in mind, Confucius' life story is a miracle in itself, and as it turns out, the Total War was sort of an inspiration for his philosophical ideas many years later.
Yeah. Just imagine this, that it's 2,000 years ago this guy was born.
Speaking of him being born, let's get more into his childhood here. When Confucius was 3 years old, his father canceled.
Aye.
This left...
Aye.
What?
His father died.
Yeah.
It's gone.
This left his mother alone to raise him and make decisions, which obviously was absurd, because how could a woman make decisions in that time period?
My age in China.
Get out of here. I want that bumper sticker. Not in my ancient China.
Yeah.
On your Prius, it'll look real good.
For Japan.
How could she raise a child? It turns out this gentle life was actually perfect for him, despite everyone being like, but she's got breasts. No.
Yeah, basically.
It was perfect for Confucius, and who was quick, smart intellect, and he proved that through his education, which was very important to him at a young age. He was taught history, poetry, and ritual.
And basically the six... the six... what are they called? The 6 studies of like ancient China? But those were the main ones that he was taught because he had like a general education. But yeah, his mother was just raising him, and like apparently people thought he was soft because his mother raised him too much. Like he wasn't.
Yo, you ain't no hard street boy. You soft.
Yeah, basically.
Step
he was
up,
like Confucius was like,
Confucius.
I think we should talk about this in debate, and then like
I
everybody.
think I should throw some pebbles at
Yeah,
your head
basically.
and bring great dishonor to your family,
Basically, yeah.
bitch.
So the last one of those, the ritual, became really, really important.
It
to
was a
Confucius.
huge thing.
Back then.
I was
This was
like-
very important.
When I first read that, I was like, history, poetry, ritual. I guess ritual was probably like the least one. Nope. It was like all about dead people. And then Confucius was like, what about everyone who's alive? And they were like, no.
Yeah, because basically he did this
Dead
thing.
people better.
He's like, dead people are very important. He's like, what if we treat alive people like we treat dead people? And everyone was like,
With respect.
and then he ascended to the ethereal plane.
Yep, which is also known as
Factual.
Detroit, Michigan.
I want to say
Confucius in
Michigan.
Detroit.
Ethereal plane.
I want to make the state motto.
Yeah.
The state bird is a bear.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so he studied a lot more about the ritual than anyone else did as a child.
The ritual.
As childs, yeah. So it was a lot of like you take the sage and you burn it, and then you sprinkle it around.
You don't sprinkle it. You smear the smear. It's smoke. Tasty.
Sage.
More like gravy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like burning that, and then you'd go and
Then
like,
you walk around and you cleanse it of spirits. You do this motion a bunch.
yeah.
Which is,
It
like,
wasn't not
sad.
It was and then like communicating with them, just being like, "Hello, spirits, my old friend."
What up?
Yeah, and then like having like the burial urns and
The
whatever.
burial tube.
The burial wrapping paper.
Happy Christmas! I get you, Grandma.
Happy Lent, I got you, Grandma. You have to give up your grandma for Lent.
We were playing
rough.
Cards Against Humanity once upon a time, and he was like, "What did I have to give up for Lent, Grandma?" So now anytime Grandma comes up, we're like, "I had to give her up for Lent.
It's not a good time.
She was not available."
Lent was it? You had to give up something for Lent.
You have to.
Grandma,
She was
come
just like, "I'm ready to go." We're like, all right.
on. You can go to Lent. Yeah. So he studied more ritual than was actually required, and spent a lot more time in the temples. I mean,
Oh.
there's like a lot of like requirements for ritual, and they'd be like, for this week you have to spend 4 hours doing your rituals, and he was like, I'm gonna spend 12 hours, bitch. I don't think he said bitch, but like probably it was probably
I will
like,
spend 12 hours, bitch.
yeah. So yeah, the Chinese doctrine of religion basically was very paradoxical to him too, because it didn't make a lot of sense. It was simply known as Chinese religion, by the way.
That's dumb.
That's what it's known. Yeah, it was never given like a formal name. It was just Chinese religion. They just
guess.
believed that the ancestors just like hang around, and that you got to like pay attention to them, or else
Is that,
they get angry.
is that most Chinese religion now, or was that just
it was
at the
an
time?
ancient Chinese religion. It was
Oh,
like
okay.
ancient. So it was like I mean, nowadays there's Taoism and whatnot.
I do love the Tao.
The Tao, know the way of the Tao.
We're gonna try to avoid making the way jokes, but it might happen. So I'm
The
sorry.
way of the Tao is very important. Remember the way of the Tao.
Yep.
The Tao is the universe. Oh, speaking of, so the documentary we watched about this whole Confucius thing, I thought it was really funny.
Oh, the British,
Tao
like-
thing, where she's like, "Is there any way that you think you can manipulate the Tao?" And this Chinese guy was like, "The
No.
Tao is not to be
No.
manipulated. You
No.
never ever manipulate
No.
the Tao. The Tao is
No.
not a universal manipulation."
No. She was like, but is it possible? No. It is not.
Manipulate.
But could it be?
Yeah.
No, it could not be. Please stop.
So yeah, and he just thought it was very paradoxical because it was focused on bringing order and balance to the world. But he noticed that even though people were doing ritual, there wasn't order and balance. There's a bunch of people just going and screaming for war, right? I did my Dennis channel that. Dennis went to war, right? Yeah.
There was just so much pump up for. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Balance was always to be achieved. Confucius just thought that there was a complete opposite thing happening in the world around him. He was like,
So
"This
much
is-
chaos
guys,
and war and shit.
This is not balance. This is opposite of balance."
Please cease your balance.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just waves and waves and waves of chaos.
Whee!
A lot of chaos in there.
Ocean man, won't you take
Yeah.
me by the chaos?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And basically, he thought that the salvation of this chaos was ritual. He thought that if
Oh,
we
so-
increased ritual and like increased the importance of ritual,
Yes.
the chaos would go away.
In little sprinkles.
Yeah, and so it basically founded this religion known as Confucianism, but it's borderline religion because it's more of like a philosophical doctrine of like doing things.
Mm-hmm. Does Confucius's name have any meaning? Like
Confucius?
Does it mean something, or is it just like?
I'm pretty sure it's
That's
just like
me.
Confucius. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I didn't see anything about it.
Because some Chinese names have like double meanings. Like my name is.
Let's see. That's a good question.
Pan, but it actually means sacred lily or something.
Let's see.
I'm curious.
Latinized from the Mandarin Chinese Confuzi, meaning Master Kong.
Okay.
Master Kong.
That's what they call Donkey Kong in Japan.
Master Kong.
This is Confucius throwing scrolls.
My religion. Wow. That's what
I'm
I meant.
sorry, but your religion is in another temple.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dang it. I have to go. Wow.
Good.
Yeah. So he felt that he was the only one that understood that ritual. What?
I just read this sentence, and he grew up.
Sorry. I was adding a lot of flavor to this.
It's the best segue ever.
Yeah.
And he grew up.
He felt that he was the only one who understood that ritual could like bring salvation. Right?
So everyone else was just like, I'll do it. And
Yeah.
like, no, it'll help you be a
they're
good.
like, think about doing it. Don't just be like, well, ritual of putting cup down.
Minimum wage, moving the ritual guy.
Yeah, basically. That's what he thought. Yeah. And he was like, well, we gotta fix this. We gotta go and stop it. So he grew up. And he grew up.
At around 20 years old, he apparently found himself a job managing grain storages, which were basically like silos, but they were built into the ground. And what they said is like, Confucius would sit there and be like, grain's not going anywhere. Time to think philosophically for hours.
Yeah, basically.
That's basically what he did. He was like,
sitting.
and every like half an hour he'd go, huh, grain's still there. Back to think.
Yeah. Back to think. Oh.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah.
It was probably about as boring as it sounds, and that's why he would have liked it. Lots of time to think.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, after a while, he realized what the trouble of the Chinese people were. I'm seeing bright lights whenever I close my eyes. I think UFOs are coming in my brain.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't see no tractor
Quote
beams.
Confucius. I see bright lights in my brain. I think aliens are coming.
Oof. Confucius got him.
It's kind of trouble the Chinese people were in.
Yeah.
The period of war they were experiencing, and he felt that his people needed help. He began a walkabout of sorts to brainstorm, you know, if you will, in kind of like a philosophical way.
Yeah, he's like philosophical,
He wasn't just like,
I will go now. And then he just like gets up and walks. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have room to
So
get
he
up and
went
walk away.
west and reached the Yellow River, which is the big river that splits China and is most fertile area of China.
Yeah, so basically there's a lot of food there, and people just sit there and farm all day. So it's like away from the metropolises and stuff.
Okay.
Food.
Oh, I scrolled down too far.
Yeah. But in the Yellow River, he met the Tao. He learned the way of
He
the
learned
Tao.
the big river. It's with China. It's said that in this area he met early Taoism followers.
Mm-hmm.
It was another paradox because these people believed that society brought people away from the universe, like organized society itself. It was like isolationism only way. And he was like, maybe don't. He didn't really like Taoism because it was a bit too wishy-washy for him.
Yeah, it was like basically the Tao. It was like, so you're saying that society's bad, right? And they're like, yes, society brings you away from the universe.
And then he was like,
he's like, well, what about the society here?
Huh? These guys are okay. It's like,
You're
I guess.
Taoism people. Yeah, basically. And they're like, I guess they're okay.
So after this encounter with Taoism, he transformed the ideas into like a more societal thing. And then, anyway, after that, he went to Luang.
Big ideas here now.
He went to Luang and struck up philosophical conversation. The old man criticized Confucius's philosophical ideas, and it turns out the old man he met was Lizao, the founder of Taoism.
Yeah, so basically what happened, just to reiterate what he said there, after the Tao, he went to this place, Luang.
What up?
Yeah, Luang. It was,
and then Little Wang.
He went to like this bar and had a conversation with this old man. This old man was like, you can't do any of that you just said.
The documentary was like, but that old man turned out to be Lao, the founder of Taoism.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
Yeah, basically.
Because I'm uneducated.
So he's like, I don't.
Like, whom? Instead of
So basically, this
Juniorism?
founder of Taoism was like, you can't think because thinking's bad for your universe. And he went,
thinking he's...
"You're dumb," and then left. And then the guy was like, "So much for Taoism."
Oh, I got the ice free. It's still stuck.
Important.
How does that happen?
Cup.
There's ice in there. Oh!
Side quest complete.
I got it. It's okay now.
Ice coming.
Yeah.
So Confucius believed that he could help China
I'm good.
by bringing back the centralized power that was brought by through the golden age that China had just a few through the Zhao dynasty. So like before the Zhao dynasty failed, because there was many leaders, they brought about this golden age, which really was helpful to China.
China.
To Zhao China was just like
Zhaoist.
doing great.
Zhaoist regime.
Yeah. Zhao China was doing great. Like honestly, they had like so much silk that they were just trading.
I got the silk.
Basically, just to anyone, and they had like food. They just had a bunch of food.
The international symbol for food.
I got the food. I got the silk. We're doing good. And
I sometimes eat the silk because we have so much.
It was because of this organized society. There's one person in power of the town, and the one person had like a tribunal of people that they would follow, and they all worked together, and they all respected each other. And he's like, that is China.
Thank you.
And now he is an enemy of communism.
Well,
so
just when you thought it was safe to go out and be communist again.
Yeah, so this episode can't be broadcast in China because enemy of communism.
It's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I guess it could be, but like
bleep.
You might want to watch out because
you might want to watch out for communism.
Well, it's not a bad thing.
Red dogs in your backyard.
I'm not gonna say like do not communism or we will kill. I'm saying that
just gonna isolate that.
Like sentence. I'm not. You believe whatever you want. That's my beliefs. I'm
if
not
you
like America.
Go out there and like murder, whatever. Do whatever you want to do.
Well, I'm not like America, where like Fidel Castro.
I never thought you were so much like America.
Fidel Castro becomes. He's like,
rules.
we're gonna be communist. We're gonna be Lenin Marxist now, and America's like, turns out we're gonna disown you from everyone. You're eliminated.
Oh.
Like that's what. And then like Vietnam was like, we want to be communist and work together, and America was like, we don't want that.
Maybe
Too bad.
No.
We cancel. And so yeah, that's America. Anti-communism.
So he believed he could help China by bringing back the centralized power brought through the golden age that China had experienced during the Zhao dynasty. Mm-hmm. He knew it was possible to restore order because the golden age had maintained order. Mm-hmm. He started to bring back the ideas of rights and ritual into society, which is basically what we would call etiquette.
Yeah.
Like sticking out your pinky when you punch a nun.
What?
It was really revolutionary.
What? Ow! How does that work, Mike? When you punch a nun?
That looks very suggestive.
It does. Like, what is?
You get to this one.
Would you punch a nun? Like,
I was being a jokeroo, but alrighty. Because he thought if he brought respect to the world, people would become happier and more kind and stop punching nuns.
With their pinkies
He
extended.
thought if people were focused on kindness through ritual, then they just live healthier lives.
Exactly.
He also figured that through art and music, people could feel better, art therapy as it's now called, and make a good person, and make you a good society. Mm-hmm. Really sums it up.
Yeah, so it was just this psychology that he understood back then, that we understood now, but back then it was not a lot of people understood it.
Everyone was like,
if you do happy things and you're like enjoy a happy life, you'll become a happy person. And he's like, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just teach the people to be happy? You know? And he's like, we could start with the family. Aww. But he didn't know this yet. He was like, I don't know how to make people do it. That's probably what he sounded like. He sat there on his rock thinking, and he's like, I don't know.
Turned back to his family.
Yeah. Also, we forgot to mention at around 20 years old, he had like while he was managing the grain, he was also bonking the babe. So that was a really weird turn of phrase. I thought it would work out better.
Managing the grain and bonking the babe.
Woo!
Wow. Is that the sound for bonking?
No.
Woo!
That was me just breathing. Please.
Hey girl, you want to make some woo with me tonight? Yeah.
This is way more sexual than I thought this episode would be.
Come on, I want to hear you.
Woo! Yeah. It's funny though. It's funny.
It was like you stepped on an owl.
Managing the grain and bugging the babe. Whoa. Yeah. So he had a child, and then he had like a son, and then he had 2 daughters apparently, but then the one daughter was missing.
Oops! Can't find my daughter.
Because there's a twin that was born, and they're just
there was the whole thing where like, girl? No. Boy? I guess.
Yeah.
We have to.
You don't need girls. They don't give birth or anything.
Yeah,
Get rid of them.
They don't maintain society as a whole.
What do they do?
They don't make up 50% of the population.
Which is interesting because at the same time, that Plato was basically saying that women could essentially do the same thing that men could. Yeah, so Plato was like,
keep that propaganda.
I don't see
out
why
of this
women
room.
couldn't do stuff. And then so was Buddha. Buddha was like, well, I mean, women are just men with vaginas, so.
I've always said that.
But Confucius was just like, tradition.
So
women get down.
So figuring out how to deal with these issues for Confucius was difficult, but eventually he turned back to his family.
Oh.
One a male and one a what? He had 2 children. He turned back to his family. One of them a male. No. He turned back to his family and he had 2 children at the time. One male and one daughter. A third was missing. He realized that... Sad. He realized that family was the idealistic order where the grandfather was always listened to and children respected their parents.
Yeah, so what I meant by idealistic order is that in society there wasn't like an ideal order to things because people wouldn't always listen. But in a family... yeah. In a family, he noticed that in his own family at least, like the grandfather was listened to, right? So if a grandfather said something, then the children would just like listen. They'd be like, okay.
Respect your elders.
Yeah. And then like you'd listen to your dad and mom when they tell you not to do something. And he's like, what if we apply this?
Babe. Don't.
Yeah.
I'm a...
Bonking the babe.
Still bonking.
Yeah.
So this harmony of family.
Yeah, you go
But
ahead.
one of Confucius's core beliefs of the family. This is where he makes his famous connection between family and rulership. In summary, he believed that if rulers grew up to honor family, the good atmosphere would create a group leader. Mm-hmm. The next step was that the ruler would treat his subject like family. Quote, what you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others.
That's a confusion. What you do not want done to yourself. You said what you do not want done.
No.
What
was
you
so
do
weird.
not
what
want
you do
done.
not want done to yourself, do not do to others. Basically, treat others how you want to be treated.
Yeah, so he's like, if the leader treats people how they want to be treated,
then the leader will be good.
You'll be a good leader.
He still believed in the mandate of heaven, but also believed the mandate of heaven could be taken away.
Oof, this
and
is
gave people the idea that they have the right to overthrow leadership that is not going good.
So basically, they had to believe that like the mandate of heaven, people would declare themselves to have the mandate of heaven. They're like, I'm chosen by God.
Prove it.
I'm the leader. And then they go, I'm chosen, okay? I'm the leader. Only I can.
Can you walk on bread?
Yes, I can.
Oh, wow!
So they'd be chosen as a leader.
Bread.
So
They would read the Bible if it was just mundane tasks.
yeah.
Turn my water into slightly colder water.
Yeah.
I burnt all my fingers
It burnt them.
with pain.
Oh. Yeah, so basically at the time, if a leader had the mandate of heaven, you couldn't just be like, you don't have the mandate of heaven anymore.
Nope.
So,
Cancel.
which is kind of confusing because I did say the Zhao dynasty lost the mandate of heaven, but it was also around the same time that Confucius, like they lost it because they couldn't order anything around
Heaven
anymore.
must have so much paperwork from these
Yeah, they
guys.
would have been like, yeah, god damn it. Another one? Cancel it. And then Confucius came along and they're like, wait a minute, they can take it away now?
What the frickin'
Yeah.
chunky dino guy?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So basically Confucius was the first person to be like, hey, if you don't like him, just beat at him.
I mean, yeah, beat him.
Beat him up.
I was just beat him.
Yeah.
Pro tip for parents.
So people liked...
just beat him.
Yeah, these ideas were taken poorly, at first. They didn't like him. They didn't. So he went around basically being like, overthrow the bourgeoisie, get rid of the powerful people who suck.
I'm
You
not
can do
overthrown. You're gonna be.
Yeah, and then...
Top.
So people were just like, no, you're too blunt and radical. You can't have blunt radicals.
You want a radical blunt, though.
Yeah.
I got you.
You can have a radical blunt, but you can't have blunt radicals. This is nuts. Mm-mm. And his political application was just too strong at first, so he was just going at it.
Time check. Continue.
You know there's a clock on the computer.
I choose to disregard that computer is fake.
All right.
Facts.
So,
His first.
his ideas being chosen on people being chosen on how virtuous they are, and being like ranked up
On pure virtuousness alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like some people. Oh my God, I'm being attacked.
His first idealistic
Sorry.
action was to return the
No.
power to the Duke.
No. Sorry. People like the idea of being able to climb the ranks on pure virtuousness alone. They like to because originally
You were
said
dead.
you said I'm sorry. I just gotta reiterate this because they said prior to this people couldn't rank up. You were one rank and that was it. Like if you were born a butcher, you were a butcher for life, buddy.
Hey, I'm
But
in.
now, if you're
Free
a nice butcher, you can be king butcher if you want. So,
Free bacon for the land.
yeah, basically, if you want to, you gotta be nice though.
Empty cup.
Yeah.
Tastes good.
So his first idealistic action, as Eric said,
No.
was to return the power to the Duke in an unconfirmed town, which sounds really interesting.
I
but-
read it as the Dyke the first time.
Yeah, there was Duke Dyke. I'm pretty sure. Let me figure out what the Duke was.
Are you thinking of Dimsdale Dimmendow? Mummer of the Dimsdale Dimmendow?
No, it was Duke Dyke. I'm pretty sure.
All right. I think
The
it was
Duke.
Duke
The
Dunk.
Duke.
Duke Dunk.
The Duke.
The Baba Duke.
Yeah. The Duke. It doesn't say what the Duke was. It was the Duke of Lou.
Brownie boy.
Duke of Lou.
I love when you guys when I make jokes about pictures you can't see.
It's very funny. So he's the Duke of Lou.
You do that after every single one of my jokes.
That's very funny.
That's very funny. Passive aggressive humor.
I didn't mean to.
It's very funny.
Duke of Lou.
It's very funny.
Duke.
Lou. Whatever.
Khufu?
You're just making shit up now?
Duke. I did see, it was like Duke Dyke. Like, I'm not even kidding. It was like Duke D. Duke D.
Where were we? Can we return?
Yeah, we can return to...
Side quest.
Side quest failed.
Do not complete.
I failed it.
Good.
I didn't get the Duke in.
You'll
So,
get the Duke Dyke.
yeah, he wanted to, anyway, this Duke, he wanted to return to power because the Duke was basically just like, man, I don't gotta rule nothing. I'm gonna sit here and collect food stamps. Like,
Just so that the poor can't have them.
yeah.
Got them.
Sorry, I really needed that drink of water. Sometimes it's very important for your throat if you don't pay attention. So he wanted to centralize the power again. So there was a revolt, and Confucius used this revolt. He wasn't a part of it. He was just like, well, better let them do that thing they're doing. And so he used it to convince the families to tear down these walls that were built over. So there's basically like 4 Berlin walls going in this town at once. Because they're just like, people from this wall can't go to this place, and this wall can't go there and there. And Confucius was just like, why, guys? Why not just don't? And they went,
Why not don't?
the revolt happened, and they were like, well, if we unify, we maybe not have to. And so like 2 of the people tore down their walls, and they're like, okay, this is dumb. And then 2 of the other guys were just like, no, wall good.
Team Wall.
Yeah, they were T-Wall. So there was a series of problems that he faced, and one of them was a general reluctance to do anything.
Same.
And eventually, not all the walls were turned down. And so
that's
this
so
brought
relatable.
attention to the state of Lu, and the neighbor state, the Qi, were worried about this, basically. So
You sure it's not Kai?
they're worried about it becoming too centralized. Qi, I'm pretty sure it's Qi, or Qi, probably.
Chi is like the energy.
Chi.
Kai.
I don't know, okay. Anyway, QI, Chinese for something, was worried about...
Q.I.
QI, Chinese for something. So the neighboring state was worried about this. They're worried about becoming too powerful.
What?
That they're not themselves. They're
Was
worried
ever
about...
worried about becoming too powerful?
They're worried about Lu becoming too... You just poured it all over yourself, doing a bit of a...
I was very hot.
Oh.
I'm still very hot.
So, basically, they sent 80 dancing girls, which is actually what happened. They sent 80 dancing girls and a shit ton of food to the Duke of Lu. Because they're like, Duke of Lu, you not want to organize. And they're like, okay, well, how are we going to convince him?
Sit on my face.
Basically, 80 women just went to the Duke's quarters.
Sit on my face.
And then they went to the Duke's quarters, and the Duke just went and didn't come out for 4 days.
With 80 dancing women?
There was 80 dancing women, and he's just like, orgy, 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 orgy! Like...
I prefer your bonk the grain metaphor. Oh, not bonk the grain! Don't bunk the grain. That's the town grain. Oh, it's got bunk on it now. I meant bunk the...
The babe. He bonked the babe 80 times.
Ah!
Yeah. And there's shit ton of food. Yeah. So it says he indulged himself for 3 whole days.
If you know what I infer.
And he wasn't seen at all. Basically, people were like, "Have you seen the Duke?" And they're like, "No." And then like went and looked in the windows and they went, "Oh God!" Duke was just imagine the Duke being like the Grandmaster in Thor Ragnarok.
You know what he was doing? He was organizing a play.
Oh,
Yeah.
dancing women.
Yeah, he was just organizing a play.
Everyone was
That's all he was
confused.
doing. That's why all the screams from those girls.
Yeah. Anyway, basically, in the end, Confucius was like, "Not a fan of how you just did that, dude. Not a fan." And so he was very disappointing, but he was willing enough to wait for a better excuse to be respectful, because he wasn't going to be like, "I'm leaving because he just smashed 80 women." He's like, "I'll leave."
I'm leaving because I'm jealous.
Translation.
I want to do it.
It's like in ancient Greece or in Rome, the people who had the smaller penises were better.
How come
So
you
it's
get
just
to
like-
80 women and I get the grain with wig on?
Yeah. It just reminds me of the fact that, yeah, so like you have a smaller penis, so you're better. Like obviously that's a bit of jealousy right there. Greece, yeah. Being like, well, people with smaller penises are great, lady.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
It's
And
not the size, it's how it gets used.
because the smaller it is, the more brains are here and not there. Like I don't know, Greece was a strange place. Let me just tell you.
Sigmund Freud.
Yeah,
Opinions
basically.
on how the brain.
Yeah.
Tiny
So
dick?
yeah,
Many
he was
think.
like, I'll wait around for some other excuse to leave, and then it came when the Duke forgot to send Confucius a piece of a sacrificed meal, which is exactly what it said. I was like, I don't understand, but apparently it was a ritual to like send sacrificed meal to one of your subjects.
Sacrificed meals on wheels.
Yeah.
I would use
Uber.
that service every day.
So he
Sacrificed meal
apparently
meals.
was exiled after that. So that was his
Why'd you
exile.
put quotations around it?
Because he wasn't really exiled. He was
No,
just
he
like,
was just like, I've been exiled! And
Yeah.
they left, and they
Yeah.
were like, you're fine, dude. And he was like, no, I must go.
yeah, just like, yeah, basically.
I saw you fucking, I gotta go.
Jealousy engaged. So he went around to all the rest of the states and basically was like, "Hey guys, I got a neat new thing.
Confucius with Irish stripings and ties.
I'm Confucius here, and I want to tell you that you can overthrow the power if you believe in power, and if you're nice to people, you can do good things."
And then wasn't the power like,
Yeah, basically.
no!
Every single person.
Do not tell them they can do that, because
Yeah.
then they're gonna do that. And they were like, we're gonna do that. And they were like,
Eventually,
shit.
yeah. So in all the courts, basically, they're like, "You will be banished," and then he like went from banishment to banishment. But all the people were like, "Hey, Confucius, we secretly really like you. We're gonna overthrow the bourgeoisie." Yeah, basically. And so that's where Confucianism came from, because he was just like, "We are a merry bunch of Confucius. We are confused. We are Confucius." Yeah.
Where am I?
So, yeah, that's what he did. He went around and basically got this massive following and worked his way from there. Just the document didn't update, so that's great. So, he apparently later he returned home after the Duke welcomed him back.
He was 68 when he got home.
Yeah, so he lived a long life.
Woo!
Yeah, and he was
He died at 68?
No, he died at 72 or 77. It was either one of those two.
Back then, if you made it to 35, they were like new record.
See,
High score.
The other thing to keep in mind is that those consensuses also take in birth fatalities.
Oh, right, because they were like, oh, baby's got
like-
the flu. Might
So if
as
they're
well
like,
kill it.
baby lived to 1, well, meh, like, yeah.
Yeah, that affects the average, you're right.
Yeah, so if you lived past 12, basically, back then, you'd live pretty
There's a lot of
pretty
stories like that where, like, we had 13 children. This is our one daughter, though.
good. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So apparently after a while he died. Apparently. From what I...
That's how
he
being
could've.
a human works.
He might not
After
have.
a
He
while,
might be an
you
immortal.
die.
He might be here with us. Enemy of communism. Confucius. Maybe Dennis is Confucius.
He's definitely confused.
Yeah, he's definitely. So, yeah, they brought him back. They're just like, "Hey, come back. You weren't ever really exiled. Sorry for bonking." And so he came
Sorry
back.
for your bunk.
Yeah, he came back and he was an advisor for a couple government officials and stuff. And basically, people were just like, "What should we do, Confucius?" And he's like,
Bonk the brain pile.
"Whatever, guys." And then his son died. and his favorite disciples died.
It's been 15 minutes. We're allowed to leave.
Yeah, basically. They died. And,
I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
And
Just thought of Confucius in a...
due to unexpected tragedies, the camera cut out.
What?
Whoopsies. So anyway, you can check us out on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify.
Also, don't forget to check us out on the Instagram, the Twitter, and the book that contains faces, and the YouTube.
Don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe and like that one. And
You
comment.
guys
Check us out. We got some fun stuff.
Bye.
And yeah, you can... Oh, our next guy, before we forget...
Oh, yeah, he gets locked in boxes and he's a wizard.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.